What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live. The Blazers get their biggest win of the season and now have the inside track to the 6th seed. They take care of business against the Los Angeles Lakers, moving them into sole custody of that 6th seed. It also wins them the tiebreaker against the Lakers for the season. This was an entertaining game on national television. You had fans back in the arena for the first time all season long. The Moda Center had 10% capacity tonight, and you could hear those fans. You know, 10% capacity isn't a whole lot, but it was a notable difference watching the broadcast, and it was extremely enjoyable just to hear fans back in the stadium, watching Yusuf Nurkic for the first time. He's played in front of Blazer fans in, I think it was 700 some days. That was good to see, and it was great for the Blazers to get this win. Hope your guys' nights are going well. Sorry about the issues with the stream links. I don't know what happened there. YouTube just being YouTube or my computer or something, but we got it all sorted out. We are good to go, ready for takeoff on the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Eric, how are you feeling about this win? How are you feeling about this game? What do you think of the Blazers' performance tonight?
Well, I'm glad we didn't choke it away. So that was good that we got the victory, first of all. I'm going to say a little controversial statement. I actually think Rocco played good defensively tonight. I'm seeing him get killed in chat and on Twitter, and I actually thought he did about as good of a job as you can do one-on-one on Anthony Davis for someone in his position and size, so we'll get into that. But yeah, nice to see Dame have another good game. I think he had 18 points on 16 shots, or 36 points on 18 shots, which is incredible efficiency. So, just a good win. Even though a lot of the secondary players struggled, I still don't like playing 8 guys. I mean, I know we played Hollis Jefferson for a couple defensive possessions at the end, but I don't like playing 8 guys on the second night or the first night of a back-to-back when we have 5 games in 7 days coming up, and then we're just getting back from a 6-game road trip. But overall, just happy we got the win in the tiebreaker.
I'm cool with them playing 8 guys because they needed to win this game. If they lose tomorrow night because they played 8 guys tonight, I don't care. You know, this is the biggest game of the season, decides the tiebreaker, you got Lillard playing 39 minutes, McCollum playing 39 minutes, Rocco and Powell playing 38 apiece, but I mean, if you're going to play them that many minutes for a regular season game, this is it. This is absolutely it. Going into tonight, we basically explained it was a situation where Portland, if they had lost this game, they would be a game behind the Lakers right now without the tiebreaker. So that would essentially be 2 games that they'd have to make up on the Lakers. Mm-hmm. Instead, they win this game. They win the tiebreaker. They are a game ahead of the Lakers, and the Lakers have to make up 2 games on the Blazers throughout the rest of the season in order to pass them because the Blazers have the tiebreaker. So basically it was the Blazers have to make up 2 games or the Lakers have to make up 2 games. So that's why this game was so crucial, not only because it was between 2 teams battling for position, but it was also the tiebreaker, the cider. That's why this win was so huge. Very, very pleased. This basically makes it likely that Portland won't have to deal with a play-in. Now, they have some tough opponents left, knock on wood, all that good stuff. They got a game tomorrow night, quick turnaround. Hopefully this isn't an emotional high that leads into a loss, but I'm not even really focused on the game tomorrow or any of that type of stuff. They needed this win tonight. They went out and got it. Dame put on another good performance against the Lakers. There were some things that the Blazers struggled with in this game, but as with more than any game all season long, the result of this one mattered.
Yep. And it's important to note, it's probably unlikely because Dallas has a super easy schedule the rest of the way. But if we tied just one team between Dallas and the Lakers, we own the tiebreaker for both of those scenarios now. If it's a 3-way tie, we don't because Dallas gets it because of the stupid division leader thing. But if we happen to, win a decent amount of games from here out and somehow tie tie Dallas, we would actually get the fifth seed over them in this scenario as long as the Lakers aren't also tied with us.
Yeah.
So
And
that's an important note for this.
if it's a 3-team tie, we'd be sixth now, correct? Because
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
Dallas, we get the first tiebreaker division winner, and then it'd come down to us and Lakers, and of course we got that tiebreaker. So
Head-to-head. Yep.
if we tie with either Dallas or the Lakers, or we tie with all three, we're gonna be a 5 or 6 seed. We're not going to end up being a 7 seed unless we fall to 7th outright. So that's kind of the situation that presents itself going forward. We have 5 games left. I don't know if the Lakers have an even number of games to us. Let me look at this here. I got the standings up on my phone.
I know the next game is against the Suns, and they have to. I think they do have 5 games. Their next game is against the Suns, and the Suns are definitely wanting to get that 1 seed now to avoid the Lakers in the play-in or in the 2-7 matchup.
Yeah, so we're talking about the impacts of winning this game. Then we'll break down the game. That's kind of how we're going to go forward with this game recap in this post-game show. I mean, the Blazers have 5 games left. The Lakers have 5 games left. The Mavericks have 5 games left, right? So this could be a situation where if Portland is able to beat San Antonio and Houston and the Lakers drop their next 2, Portland will have a top 6 seed clinched. Okay? I think if Portland loses one of those, or I think if Portland wins both those games and the Lakers only win one of the 2, then Portland will also... they would be 2 games up. Then they would all but have it clinched. The Lakers would have to win out. Portland would have to win out. So you could have a situation where Portland is able to rest guys against Denver and that game is meaningless. That would be nice if we could be in a position where we're not going to play in a play-in and we can rest players for that Denver game. Okay? There's multiple reasons, right? There's multiple reasons why that's important. A is because we have 2 games off before that Denver game. Then we could rest guys for that Denver game, and then we wouldn't have to play in either of the play-ins. So that could be like a week of rest for a guy like Dame. Now, you don't want to rest them too long, I guess.
Right.
You don't want guys to get rusty, but guys would be able to be fresh. Dame would hopefully be able to be kind of recovered from all the nagging injuries he's dealt with and be fresh. You would have a fresh team headed into the playoffs. Now, the other reason why it'd be nice to have, things kind of taken care of by that Denver game is it's going to be hard to pass Dallas for 5th. Dallas has an insanely easy schedule. They played the Cavs tonight, blew them out. They play the Cavs next game, and then I think their final 3 games are against lotto teams. So it's going to be really hard to pass Dallas. But if we have things taken care of, that Denver game, if they win that final game of the regular season against us, it might move them into 3rd, with us being 6th. So if that loss doesn't hurt us at all, and we're kind of locked into 6th, it would actually maybe, I don't know. I know you're not a huge fan of losing a game to try and match up against a certain team, but that could be a game where if Denver beats us, they're the 3rd seed in our matchup. If we beat them last game of the season, it could put us into a matchup with the Clippers. So that's something to watch out for as we head into the final week of basketball. That's why it's nice to take care of this game, because otherwise we'd be trying to scratch and claw our way out of a play-in situation. Likely would have no chance of using that final game for rest purposes, and then we'd have to play play-in games, and you'd get no rest. So it's a huge deal going forward for playoff positioning and situational.
Until Keljin Blevins and TJ Leaf combined for 60 and like 30 rebounds and 17 assists, and we beat the Nuggets starters on the last day when they're trying to get the 3rd seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have to face the Clippers because of it. But then we beat Paul George again. I would take it, man. That would be deja vu. I would take my guy Keljin Blevins dropping the cool 30, just for the meme. I mean. Don't get me wrong, like, the Clippers would be interesting because they've struggled in the playoffs, and it would kind of be like, well, either this team's going to lose or this team is ready to beat a contender, because they are a contender. So, I mean, you might as well just go into a matchup against a tough team where if you lose, you're out in the first round. If you win, you show that you can beat a contention level team. So it's not like I'm completely against facing the Clippers. Denver does give us the easier path, though, essentially, with where we're at.
Didn't you say the opposite of that when I brought up that point last game?
I don't know. I mean, yeah. If you want the team to make the second round, you definitely want Denver. You definitely want Denver.
I agree.
If you want the team to contend, I'm not sure it matters because they're going to have to beat the Clippers at some point, most likely, or the Lakers at some point. So that's kind of how I feel going into it, but that's the situation they're in. Is there anything you want to add for just kind of the playoff positioning as we head down the stretch?
No, just I think it's pretty clear. It's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5, 6, 7, maybe even 5th separating from 6 and 7 based on their schedule. So, yeah, I think it's pretty clear what the races are. And like you said, it could either be coming down to the last game, or it could be like everything's clinched going into that weekend, so it doesn't matter at all. So, yeah, these next 2 games obviously aren't as important as this one was, but there are easiest 2 games left on the schedule. If we're going to get that 6th seed and have a chance of resting guys, you got to take care of business these next 2.
Yep, I agree.
How many games behind the Lakers are the Warriors?
3.
3.
So it's going to be hard for the Warriors to catch them.
Very outside shot, I guess, but
I don't know who has the tiebreaker there. Golden State would probably have to have the tiebreaker. Otherwise, the Lakers, if they win a game, they clinch. Because they could go 1 and 4. No, the magic number would be 2. They'd have to win 2 games if the Warriors won out. So maybe not completely out of the picture, but I'm assuming the Lakers are going to be 7th. Play-in position, and you got Golden State, Memphis, and San Antonio all kind of bunched up 8th, 9th, 10th. So there's kind of tiers. It's the Jazz and the Suns, 1 and 2. They'll likely be 1 and 2. Clippers and Denver, 3 and 4. Likely be 3 and 4. Then you got Dallas, Portland, the Lakers in a tier 5 through 7, and then you got Golden State, Memphis, San Antonio in a tier. San Antonio beat Sacramento to go 3.5 games above them. If they lost, they would have only been 1.5 game up on Sacramento and New Orleans, so you would have potentially had one of those 2 teams in position to play in into that 10th seeded play-in game.
The Pelicans also, it looks like Ingram and Zion are both out for the rest of the season, so they're probably done with having any chance for that as well.
So I think right now the top 10 teams are pretty much decided. The thing that's left up in the air is just first round matchups, and will the Lakers be in the playing game, or can they gain 2 games on Portland in the final 5? So yeah, we'll keep you guys posted. Obviously, the situation is not a situation where Portland is, going to clinch the 6th seed with a win, but this game goes a long way towards that. So let's thank the donations, and then let's break down the game. We got 300 people in here. Shout out to all you watching. Leave a like. It does help us out. I don't ask for likes often, but it does help out the channel. Let's start at the very top with a $6.98 SGD donation. Singapore dollars. Okay, cool.
He's from Singapore, I think.
From Gordon.
Lives in Singapore.
Yeah, appreciate it, Gordon. He
What's
says,
up, Gordon?
got moolah from my military fitness test, but here's to you guys. Agree with you, Eric. Rocco did good. You live with AD isolating and scoring while the rest go cold. I also agree with Eric. We'll break that down more in a little bit. Appreciate the donation, Gordon. Apple's $3 Australian donation says, how you guys feeling? Nice to see Dame be Dame, and Dame breaking out is a huge narrative given how much he was struggling. We'll talk about that as well. Lots of basketball topics you guys are bringing up in the donos. I love it. Shout out Near012 for another $5 dono. Back again. Young, reliable, Near012. He says, Frank Vogel might be a worse coach than Stotts. Why would you have AD take the ball out when you need to score with under a minute to go? I'm not going to say Vogel is a worse coach than Stotts. He has that team playing good defense without AD, without LeBron. Obviously, offensively, they don't got Schroeder either. Offensively, they're struggling right now. Even with AD back, they don't have a good offensive lineup that they're throwing out on the court.
I will say AD agreed with that Dono that he was like, why am I taking the ball out? You could see him like say that. And then he was mad that Caruso fouled. um, that wasn't Vogel's fault that Caruso fouls when they have a chance to get a stop with time on the clock still. And they lost the game because of that, or lost a chance at the game because of that. But yeah, so maybe, just maybe, there's a slight outside belief of the Lakers to want to have not to avoid the Clippers in the first round, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, they just got to get LeBron healthy. I think they'll win the play-in game if they're in it, if LeBron is healthy and ready to go. If not, then I don't know. Here's the thing, though. Steph Curry could drop 50 on their heads, and I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Bro, I want a Steph Curry versus LeBron James playing game. All right? I know that sounds like a casual NBA fan, but I want that. That would be entertaining, man. That would be so entertaining.
One other thing, too, is they often say that the inbound passer is dangerous because you can quickly pass it back to him and the defense often forgets about him. Now, when it's AD or LeBron or someone like that, it's a little different story sometimes, but there are some plays you could run with him off that action. But I'm not sure why they had him inbound the ball and didn't try to get it back or anything, or him being the guy to screen for Caruso there.
Having your star inbound the ball is better when it's like a Dame Lillard, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, James Harden type who is like lethal from the perimeter and can get a three up off the dribble. When it's Anthony Davis, who's a big man, it's not going to be as lethal, and it's not as good of a strategy to have your star big be the inbounder there, because if he gets the ball back, he's likely getting it, 25 feet away from the rim? You live with him maybe shooting a pull-up contested three there. So I don't agree with that decision from Vogel. Shout out Shane Schaefer, $2 dono, says 3-6 versus Denver. We win in 6. I'm not going to say that. They've played well. Despite their injuries, they've probably overachieved considering their injuries. But, injuries aren't everything. Coaching matters. They're a very well-coached team. They lost tonight, so they're a game behind the Clippers for the 3 seed. I think Denver has the tiebreaker currently with them, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe somebody in chat could help me out with that one. Shout out Play-by-Play, $20 dono, huge dono from Play-by-Play, says, underwhelming win, but we'll take it. So annoying that 3 of our 4 best defensive forwards are sitting on the bench getting no time. I genuinely think we ran the worst defensive lineup in NBA history with CJ, Norm, Ant, Melo, and Ennis, and it's going to be interesting to see how a Melo and Ennis front court pairing does. If this was a game where we're just talking about style of play and how well we played, I don't think the Blazers played well, but it's not an underwhelming win simply because the result mattered so much in this one. If this was a game against the Spurs in the middle of the season, I'd probably be saying, yeah, we didn't play too well right now and explaining things that we can improve on, but the result really, really mattered in this one for positioning reasons. So I am going to enjoy this post-game show, enjoy talking about the good things from this game, and enjoy the fact that we are in a good position because of this win.
The only thing I'll say about that is defensively, I mean, yeah, you look and they only scored 101, but they hadn't scored over 100 the last 2 games either. So people will say, like, oh, wow, Blazers defense, look how good it is now. But that lineup gave up a bunch of points. I think we gave up, I want to say 33 points in the second quarter. So that lineup had a lot to do with that. So that was not good to give up that bad of an offensive team that many points in a quarter. But yeah, I think you can see this is why I want Denver in the playoffs versus any of the other teams that are possible, because they don't have, much like the Lakers tonight, a dynamic guard who can handle the ball and make plays out of the pick and roll. And that's our biggest weakness on defense, is how we defend that, how we drop the big on it usually, how we don't trap well, we don't pressure the guards out of the pick and roll. And the Lakers, I mean, Caruso tried, KCP tried a few times, but like they don't have anyone that can really break down a defense without LeBron. So, or without Schroeder. Schroeder could do it, and he probably would have lit us up if he was playing in this game. But yeah, so this is why Denver matches up. So we're talking about guys like Campazzo and stuff like that who aren't dangerous in the pick and roll like Murray would be, or even a Schroeder if LA had him. So I think that's important to note that it's not necessarily the Blazers playing good defense. It's that the opponents don't have a player that can really expose us. I mean, AD kind of did, but I think that was more by design than just a bad game plan, which we'll get to when we talk about Rocco playing defense.
Yeah, the thing is with Denver, their most lethal pick and roll ball handler in their starting lineup right now is their center. So it's Nikola Jokic. So definitely he presents matchup issues regardless if he's running pick and roll or not. But in terms of guards, yeah, they don't have the guards, which is, I agree with you. I like that matchup for that reason. Connor Martin, $50 dono. Connor, man.
What's up, Connor?
Appreciate the dono, man. That's insane. Just so he could get this on the airwaves. Down by 3, big fast break opportunity, all the momentum, kick it out to Kyle Kuzma, who I've said for the longest time is overrated. So overrated. Bro, he's Robert Covington with terrible defense. But and a worse shooter. Robert Covington, worse shooter, and terrible defense. He's always been overrated. He can have a big game, and he's one of those guys where he'll have like one game where he helps you because he's knocking down some shots, and then he'll have 2 games where he's hurting the team because he's not playing defense and he's shooting like he did tonight. He was terrible tonight. Never really been a fan of him. Yeah, he finished 2 for 11, and one of those was the Blazers playing no defense, final buzzer. He wanted to make his shooting percentage look a little bit better.
His other shot was a nice behind the back dribble drive to get to the rim.
Yeah.
But then,
I mean, Rocco didn't shoot the ball well, but Rocco, I thought, I agree with you, played solid defense, and we'll talk about that. That's the thing with a guy like Rocco. He can have a poor shooting night, and he can provide you value still because he'll still generally make the right pass, and he'll play some defense. Kyle Kuzma doesn't do the little things, doesn't make the right pass, doesn't play defense. So that's the thing. When he's having a bad shooting night, he is 100% going to hurt your team.
Man, they should have traded him when his value was somewhat okay.
Should have sold high.
Yeah. I made this joke earlier, but I think in a redraft I would still take Caleb Swanigan over him, and Caleb Swanigan isn't even in the league anymore. I can't stand having guys like Kyle Kuzma on my team that play that dumb and who think they're like an all-star, all-NBA player and play like they are, but they don't have the skills that match that kind of playing style and ego and stuff like that. So I think those are like the worst type of players to have on your team. So yeah. I would not want him on the Blazers for any price.
I mean, he's good on a tanking team.
Yeah.
Not good on a team trying to win. Shout out to Zach for a $1 dono, and then shout out Near012 for a $5 dono. Says, isn't Rocco shooting like 38% from 3 though? Exactly. Kyle Kuzma is Rocco with terrible defense and a worse shooter. And much worse decision making. Basically, he's not Rocco at all. He's just trash. But appreciate the dono from Near012. Yeah, so since we're on the topic of Rocco, what do you want to break down his defense against AD today, kind of what you thought? I know you've went into it a little bit. Just you want to touch on that?
Yeah, so I don't know if Shaggy Squid is watching yet or is going to tune in because kind of got into it with him. And so for the record, real quick, if you do watch this Shaggy Squid, my whole point was I don't want to sit there arguing on Twitter while I'm trying to watch the game. And I asked you, can we pick this up later or can we stop right now? And then you said something kind of rude about the channel. And so that's when I was like, man, I don't want to have to mute you. But like, seriously, I want to be able to talk basketball with you and I want to be able to have those discussions. I just don't want to do it like 20 different tweets back and forth during a game while I'm trying to watch.
Yes.
So that was the only reason why I made that comment is because like I've asked you about that before, just like respect like watching the game, and like we can have a little bit of a discussion, but not like an in-depth one that we can have after the game. We're going to be on this post-game show and we can talk to you about it here. So he said, and several other people were saying how Rocco was absolutely awful and we should have put Nurk on AD and all this stuff. But I mean, AD was what, 13 for, was it 12 for 23, I think?
Yeah, I think after he said that, like, AD was like 3 for 10 or something like that against Rocco.
Yeah, and Rocco fouled him a few times. A couple of those were questionable in my opinion. But, like, in my opinion, when you're not a good defensive team, and we know Portland doesn't like the trap or double team, so you're out there on an island, and it's Anthony frickin' Davis. He's one of the best players in the league when he's motivated and trying to score. So I thought, like, having Rocco on him and just making him, like, dribble a bunch of times. LA was having him bring the ball up the court, and he was having to take, like, 15 seconds of just dribbling to even get a shot most possessions. And most of them were contested shots. He wasn't like leaving Rocco on the ground and going in for dunks and stuff like that. And the times he did do that were not really when Rocco was guarding him. And the times he posted up Rocco forced him into a tough turnaround shot, which he's a good player. He can say that, or he can hit those shots. So I don't agree with, even though Rocco is, I agree that he's a better off-ball defender. You saw how many deflections he got, especially in the first half of this one. But when you have a guy like Rocco, he struggles on quick guarding them. And then in our offense or our defense, we require our forwards to guard the other team's best perimeter players. So that's when Rocco looks terrible, is when he's trying to guard like Devin Booker or Chris Paul or Donovan Mitchell or whatever, and he's having to try and stay in front of those guys. That's when you don't want him guarding those guys. But when he's guarding a player like Anthony Davis, he's shown. I don't think Anthony Davis played in the second matchup with the Lakers this year, but the other two matchups he's done fine against him. And you just want to make it tough. And we talked about this with when we beat the Philadelphia 76ers, when Dame didn't play that one game, we let Embiid go crazy in the first half. We weren't necessarily playing defense or like bad defense on him, but he was hitting like everything. And what happened in the second half? Like, no one had touched the ball on their team. Embiid all of a sudden goes cold, and no one else can hit a shot on their team, right? And we end up winning because of that. So, like, I just think if you're going to play one-on-one against a guy like Anthony Davis or any of the other top 10 players in the league, I mean, it's fine as long as you have someone that stays in front of him and makes him hit tough shots. If he's hitting shots, that's fine. Like, make him beat you, but stay home on the other guys if you're not going to double team. Now, we can question whether we should send a double team more often if he gets hot or whatever. But without LeBron, I'm totally fine with just letting him get his and just limiting the other guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you're guarding star players, it's as much about the team defense as it is the individual defender guarding them. Because you could play good defense and star players will still figure out a way to get to the rim. You have to have good help side. I would rather have, I feel like Nurkic would have gotten in foul trouble into him, because that was kind of the conversation. We should be guarding AD with Nurkic, not Rocco. I feel like would have put Nurkic into foul trouble, and offensively, he was having a good offensive game. Defensively, much better than Cantor. I feel like Rocco's easier to replace. We have defensive forwards on the bench that we don't use. So, didn't want to put Nurkic into foul trouble guarding AD. And I felt like I would rather, instead of Nurkic kind of going out to play AD on the perimeter and then likely kind of getting blown by, and then Rocco's the help side defender, I wanted Rocco to play out on AD, because if AD started to drive on him, Rocco could hang a little bit, make it a little bit harder for AD to slash, and then the guy coming over to help is Nurkic instead of Rocco, is a better rim protector. So that was another reason why I like the matchup. Rocco on AD better, and that's the thing. You can't just look at what AD is shooting, and then, oh, well, Roko's guarding him a lot of the time to start possessions. So, and then think that Roko's the issue. A lot of times it was, switches or AD getting in transition. Maybe it wasn't even Roko guarding him, or Roko didn't have the proper help, or, a number of different reasons. That's why you can't just look at the box score and say Roko shouldn't be guarding AD. He's shooting a good percentage, and Roko's the primary defender on him.
Yeah, because at least two, I think three of his, because he mentioned one time when he was like 8 for 11 at one point, at least 2 or 3 of those were possessions where they got mixed up on defense and someone else ended up guarding AD, or they got switched on a pick or something. And so you can't blame Roko for those. And then on top of that, like I said, AD was bringing the ball up for most of the first half. You do not want Nurk guarding AD that high. Then it's possible that AD will blow by him, or that Nurk's not there to protect the paint for the other. Like Drummond might have had a good game and not fouled out and gotten a ton of offensive rebounds, because that's the one thing he's like decent at. So like that, it might have been a completely different story if you don't have Nurk boxing out Drummond in this case, and AD's taking different shots and breaking down the defense and maybe kicking out the shooters because you have to overhelp and stuff. And that's exactly why our defense gets into trouble at times. So if AD would have been posting up like 90% of his possessions or whatever, then yeah, maybe you switch a bigger guy onto him. But when he's mostly playing the perimeter like he did in the first half, and when those comments were made, I 100% would put Roko on him in those situations.
Yeah, I agree. Anything left for that conversation, or?
No, let's get to that next dono.
Yes, play-by-play, $50 dono. You guys crushing it tonight.
Play-by-play.
Huge shout-out to play-by-play with another dono. He says, here's to the best Blazers coverage in the world. I'm feeling good because Dame/Nurks look like they're getting into a rhythm at the perfect time. Granted, we don't get the Clippers in the first round. I think that team can make a little run. And it's good to see kind of that connection come back to life, because Dame and Nurkic haven't been able to consistently play with each other since Nurkic went down with that broken leg. Now you're starting to see them look more comfortable. Nurkic's decision-making is improving by the game off the pick and roll. He had a couple of really nice passes in the short roll. Should have had another assist, but it was Roko catching that lob pass instead of Derrick Jones Jr. in the second half there. Eric, imagine if that was Derrick Jones Jr. Anthony Davis would have been on a poster. And that's kind of why I wish
Roko lost the ball.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wish Derrick Jones Jr. was still getting some minutes, especially next to Nurkic. But still, Nurkic is passing. He had 4 assists tonight, if I recall correctly.
5, I think.
5 assists tonight, 10 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. Nurkic's passing off the short roll is looking good. You got more shooters around him than ever, and obviously he's the best screen setter on the team. So we have to figure out what to do when teams trap the pick and roll and teams take that away, but it's nice to see that pick and roll duo working well in the pick and roll right now.
Yeah, we saw it. There was a time when Nurk wasn't in the game, and we went back to throwing that cross-court pass. In this instance, it was Roko, and he was like way far away from the three-point line. So once again, we threw the long cross-court pass. When Dame gets doubled, the defense completely recovers to all their guys, and we lose the advantage of having a 4-on-3. But that's the difference with having Nurk in those positions, is he's not fading to that upper half-court area on the opposite side. He's actually in the middle of the key, or at the top of the key, waiting for that pass. And I think it would be better if whoever's in the game would just go to that spot and attack the basket. And I think when Melo's in the game, he should be in that position sometimes as well. But it's just I love seeing Nurk in the flow of the game. Only 1 turnover tonight, so he wasn't, even though some of his passes are kind of lazy or kind of questionable whether he should pass them. I think he got away with one being a kickball tonight. But overall, he opens up the dynamic of And once again, Dame playing off ball. I think we ran a couple plays for him off ball. He gets a wide open three, which he gets fouled on, and then a backdoor cut for a lay-in. Like it seems to work almost every time we try like a set play for him off ball. So I don't know why we don't do it more often. But yeah, it's just actually. I think we should get Nurk more involved in some of these games.
Yes.
Like it's crazy to think that because he had a great game, but like only 8 shots. I think he started off 4 or 5 from the field, and at the end when they're not playing a center, and we're kind of struggling to score on some of those possessions until they had to start fouling. I'd kind of like to see us like post up in Anthony Davis with Nurk and let him use his strength a little bit to back him down and see if he can maybe score. Versus there was a play in the fourth quarter where Nurk got the ball on a roll and dribbled and tried to lay it in, and Anthony Davis blocked it. So I'd like to see us like go feed Nurk in the post and force them to either bring help with Anthony Davis and Nurk pass out of that, or Nurk just go try to back him down and try to get an easy hook shot or something on him.
Yep. Valley Podcast says thank you for being the fake show. I thought you Suns fans wanted the Lakers to win because now they're in the 7th seed, and I know you guys probably don't want that first round matchup. But I mean, I'm glad to unite against the Lakers any day. Any day. Shout out to those guys over there covering the Suns Valley Podcast. They say, I just hate them so much. We do too. A lot of fan bases do. Shout out Andrew Miller, $5 donor. What's up, Andrew? Says, hey fellas, what are your guys' thoughts about the Powell foul on Caruso? Great win. Yeah, okay. This is a topic. The refs in this game were horrible. There were some bad calls in the Blazers' favor. There were a ton of bad calls in the Lakers' favor. The one where they took away Nurkic's dunk. How many points did Nurkic have in this game again?
10. So
he had 12. Yeah. He had 12. Okay. Yeah. He just straight up had 12 points. Because that play, that call was ridiculous. The Norman Powell drives, shovels it off to Nurkic, and is watching Nurkic dunk, and Caruso comes from nowhere, is just sprinting towards the baseline for no reason. He's not even close to Nurkic. He's just sprinting towards where Powell is running to. Powell can't just stop his momentum on the dime, and Caruso ran into Powell more than I thought Powell runs into him, and they call an offensive foul and take away the bucket. That was one of the worst calls I've seen all year, and then for them to review it for a hostile act, just terrible. Just a terrible, terrible call.
It's a shame, too, because it was such a good play. But, okay, if Caruso is standing in the spot, completely set, Norm runs through, dishes the ball off, but then runs into Caruso, who's just standing there planted, yes, offensive foul. This was not an offensive foul. There is no way a basketball player on offense should be going one way and have someone run into him from the side and that be a foul on the offensive player. There is no chance that should have been a foul on Norman Powell. If anything, just let him play. That should be a no call. The fact that they had that review for the hostile act and Stotts still had all that time to challenge it and he didn't challenge it. That to me was one of the worst non-challenges of the season, in my opinion.
I was wondering if Stotts somehow used his challenge and I missed it because there were so many plays in the second half where it was just like, why aren't you challenging that?
No, because there was a couple of fouls on Rocco that were questionable at the end, and that was after that play. And the announcers both times said, like, is Stotts going to challenge this one? So yeah, I don't think he used it at all, unless he used it at a time when the broadcast didn't even mention it. But I'm pretty sure he still had it available, and yeah, that was a bad decision in my mind to get a look at it and then to not challenge.
Yeah, what's funny is a lot of Lakers fans thought they were the ones being screwed over in this game.
Mm-hmm.
which the Lakers are always thinking they're getting screwed over. You know, if they can't trade for your superstar, somehow they think they're getting screwed over. And, you know, I mean, you got a Laker fan posting stuff in here that's getting hidden, by the way. Mr. John Smith, I don't think that's your real name, but talking all that trash, but getting censored by YouTube itself. He's sitting in here saying in his hidden messages that, oh, Lakers had your guy, or the refs had your guys' backs. On Twitter, I see a bunch of Lakers fans saying that somehow the Blazers were being favored. There was
some bad calls both ways. Yeah, you're right.
But the Caruso call, terrible, wipes 2 points off the board. 80 goaltends, they don't call it. Okay, the Kuzma one was like 50-50. The ball was still kind of in the cylinder, kind of not in the cylinder. Like, that was more of a bang-bang call. The 80 one was a blatant goaltend. That was 2 points that the Lakers shouldn't have had, and then they take away Nurkic's 2 points. And I know I'm blanking on something else that I tweeted out terrible call at. Yeah, I mean, it was bad both ways. I don't see how Laker fans can say that the refs favor the Blazers in this one, because there was numerous bad calls in the Lakers' favor in this one.
Sam Stone says the Caruso call on Dame when they challenged the call was a bad call, but they challenged and it was unsuccessful.
See,
he
that's
made
how
body
it is,
contact.
man.
That's a foul. Yeah.
Yep. If they review it and they still call it a foul, like, it's a foul. You know, I will never be one, even if it goes against the Blazers, I will never be one if they review to sit here and like try and say that's a bad call, because they review it, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the only thing I'll say is like, I think they had enough to overturn it and they didn't, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I won't, if they review it though, it's always funny when players and coaches like freak out after they review a call that they challenge. It's like they reviewed it. I mean, right. With a bunch of different angles. You think they're not going to get that right? I don't know.
So Dame got a technical in this one too. Mm-hmm. And let me just say, 100% agree. He's complaining a little too much about calls, especially when he's down on the ground and not getting up and running back on defense a lot of times. However, another knock in my mind against his coach. You know, everyone says this guy is a player's coach. When was the last time anyone can remember him going off on an official to have his players back? If he would be more on the officials, get teed up a little more often, these guys like Dame and Melo wouldn't have to complain about it. And I know Stotts doesn't have that mindset. And maybe in the Powell situation tonight, you know, I can see close game. You don't want to give up a free point. Yeah, whatever. But there's times where Stotts should absolutely get a technical for his guy, like a Norman Powell there, especially if you're not going to freaking challenge it, dude. And if you're not going to challenge it, then like, just get a T in that situation and stick up for your guy and like make Norm like respect you or whatever because you had his back, instead of him having to go off and being like what the heck and all that stuff, and Dame having to complain every time he gets knocked to the ground. Well, why don't you say something? And maybe that's like what Popovich does. Like, he'll get a tease so he gets a call later on or whatever. And maybe Dame got a call because of that later too. That might be why some of the reffing was bad on both sides. Mm-hmm. But that's part of the gamesmanship in basketball. You have to stick up for your guys, in my opinion. I feel like Stotts has this thing where he like just refuses to get a technical except for extreme circumstances, and I feel like he should go out of his way to get one every once in a while.
Yeah, there's a strategy aspect to it, because I feel like when Stotts does get a technical, you know, because he's freaking out about a call that's so bad, there's a make-up call in return and it makes up the point, or they miss the technical free throw, which on Dame's technical, they missed the technical free throw. Like, there seems to be an effect where the harder coaches are on refs, the more the refs will try and make things fair for that team, right? Sure, you give up a point with the technical free throw, but I feel like over the course of the game, you pick up a technical like that, it'll make itself up and you'll get fair calls, which is worth it. Sometimes it's not the case, you know, with a guy like, Scott Foster. That probably wouldn't be the case. You know, it depends on the refs, I guess. But, You gotta stand up for your guys as a coach if the calls are just terrible. There's a number of terrible calls in this one against the Blazers. There's a few bad calls against the Lakers as well. You just gotta stand up for your players. So it's not like Dame getting fouled and then chewing out the ref instead of getting back. I would love for Dame to just be like getting back on defense. Dame probably still gonna say something, but if he knows his coach has his back, he'll probably complain a little bit less. So that's kind of a thing that I wish Thoughts would do a little bit more, is get on the refs a little bit more. I don't want him to become a guy that's whining at every single call, because then it just kind of defeats the purpose, right? But when there's a terrible, terrible, terrible call, you got to get on the refs. And like, refs make mistakes, it's not like a personal thing. It's just like, you got to get on the refs for making terrible calls. You got to hold them accountable as a coach. And when you do so, normally it'll work itself out in the end, in my opinion.
And that's, the goaltend situations too, like, because we've gotten screwed with some goaltends that they don't call a goaltend, so they can't review it to see if it's a goaltend or not. And in those situations where you can't challenge them, I think those are a good situation to yell about it, because if you're right, especially if it's in the first half, because the refs will sometimes go and look at some of the close calls at halftime and review them and see, like, was Stotts right to be like chewing me out for that missed call or whatever. And if they see, oh yeah, we missed that goaltend, then the next time Stotts is mad about something, they're going to be like, oh crap, I think I missed that call, or like maybe lean towards the side of calling it. So yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's just a strategy, and I wish Thoughts would take more advantage of it.
Yep. Next donation we had was Alex R. $5 dono, says Blazers Uprise, 3 fire emojis. Appreciate it, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. What's up, man?
And then Near 012, young reliable Near 012 with a $5 dono, says 2 things. First is, did Melo only take like 5 shots? And second, Norman looks like he's actually enjoying playing with the team. Melo took, I think it might have been less than 5. Melo took 3 shots in 18 minutes. Was 1 for 2 from the 3-point line. I think made his first shot, but he didn't really shoot the ball. He didn't get a rebound. He didn't get an assist. He didn't get a steal. He didn't get a block. He didn't get a turnover. He had 3 points on 1 for 3 shooting in 18 minutes. So, I mean, I guess you can't say it was a bad game or a good game. It's just a very quiet game, I guess, from Melo. What'd you think of Melo tonight?
Yeah, it's always weird when you go from I don't know if I can't remember last game specifically, but there's been multiple games. You guys all know what I'm talking about, where it seems like every play we're just forcing Melo, or it's like something's happening on the defensive end and people are blaming him or Cantor or whatever. To like, was Melo even in the game tonight? Like, like that. I mean, I know he was, but like, we weren't really focusing on him on offense, and I don't know, our second unit offense was absolutely terrible tonight, so maybe we should have. But the 1 or 2 times we tried to post them up, they sent an immediate double team. And to me, they did that in the playoffs a lot too, in the bubble. And that's something that I feel like, if we know a team's going to do that, or we see them hard double teaming him quickly and right away to where he can't even get a shot off, like, you should be passing to him to pass out of that when the double team comes and take advantage of those double teams. All it would have to do is whoever's guy went to double, just cut right to the rim, and it should be open. And if not, I think Melo, one of the plays, he had a nice skip pass across the court, I think to Powell, who pump faked and then hit a 3. But yeah, so those situations, once again, just like the times Dame gets double teamed, if a team like the Lakers is stupid, and it's probably like the LeBron effect, because you always hear LeBron like, oh, Melo still got it, he can go off for 30 at any point, right? So like, he's probably telling the coaches to double team him and stuff. But yeah, so not very smart of teams to to double him like that, but Melo also has been shooting the ball well lately again, so maybe it was smart to take him out of this game and give themselves a chance not to let him get going on top of Dame and Nurk and those guys playing well. But I just wish we would welcome that sometimes instead of going away from it when they're double teaming.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like in 18 minutes, if he doesn't have a good shot, then don't shoot. I don't want it to be a situation where like, oh, he can't get a good shot off and so he's going to start forcing bad ones. You know what I mean? And I thought, for the most part, he did a good job of that. I didn't like the 3 that he took in transition that he missed, and it turned into a 3 for the other team. That was a big swing in this game to kind of keep the Lakers in it. I think, he kind of forced... That was a 3 that was forced, but that was really the only shot he forced this game. Normally, if he's struggling to get good shots, he forces a little bit more. So I thought, honestly, I'm completely fine with the game he had tonight. 3 shots, 18 minutes. You would like to get him a couple open 3-point looks to see if you can get him going. But when they're selling out on him like that, you got to draw things up to exploit it a little bit better than they did tonight, in my opinion. So we agree on that for sure. The second part, Norman looks like he's actually enjoying playing with the team. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know. What do you think about that? Because I don't really have a take either way.
Well, I think his body language has improved a lot since, not that it was like horrible, but like, it was a little more like, I don't know. I don't want to say he wasn't like a team player or anything, but he's here just trying to find his role and trying to fit in. And so I feel like now he has a little bit better understanding. I still feel like at times he wants to be aggressive and doesn't want to step on Dame or CJ's toes or like take the ball out of their hands when maybe he should. Tonight didn't have a good shooting game, but I still like his aggression. He didn't settle for shooting threes when he wasn't hitting them. He was trying to get to the rim, got fouled a couple times, got to the free throw line. So I like that aggression. Had that nice pass, which should have been an assist. Yeah, so I wanted so badly for him to have a good game and the crowd to like start chanting his name and stuff. But like, hopefully one of these 4 games here at home, he'll have a great game, and we can all show him some love and get him to feel appreciated and wanted to stay. If it happens on Monday, I'll do my part to make sure he feels loved.
Yeah, because you're gonna be at the game. I'm jealous of you, very very jealous of you. But I think he enjoys playing with Nurkic. I think he enjoys playing with Dame. I don't think he enjoys playing with CJ. Just random speculation, but that's kind of just my speculation. I don't think he enjoys playing with CJ. I think he enjoys playing with Nurkic. Nurkic found him for 2 open threes in this game. Nurkic finds Norman Powell and gets Norman Powell good shots, and then Dame is just Dame. You know what I mean? Like Dame is Dame. CJ on the other hand, I don't know. It's just when he and CJ are in the game without Dame and Nurkic, the offense is just garbage. It's not only CJ's
we don't run
fault.
anything.
We don't run anything, but it's just like it usually just ends up in like CJ like, all right, I got to make things happen, and Norman Powell's just watching him, and CJ's just going one-on-one because he kind of has to, but without Dame in the game, he also trends more towards doing that type of stuff. It's like his time to take over. So I think the lineup, kind of bench unit where Powell was in with Anthony and with CJ and with Melo and with Canner, I don't think Norman enjoys playing in those lineups as much as he enjoys playing with the full starting lineup.
Yeah, and the other factor is winning cures a lot of this stuff. So we beat the Lakers tonight. That's a good win. Everyone feels good about it. We go 5-1 on a road trip. Everyone feels good about it. He got to sit out one of the games. That's the other thing too. I mean, he wasn't fully healthy for this one either. He ended up playing, but he was on the injury report, missed the last game. So his knee could still be bothering him as well. So obviously we lose 5 in a row. the body language is bad. Everyone looks like they hate life and the season's over and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we win 6 out of 7, and now everyone's happy and feeling like they have a legit chance to make some noise moving forward. And so yeah, winning kind of cures that. We kind of talked about that being a really deep team at the beginning of the year, before we even knew that Zach would be out more than a month. So we were like, how are these guys going to be happy not getting minutes and stuff like that? And the thing was always, well, we have to win in order for everyone to be happy, because if we're losing and people who think they should be playing like a Derek Jones or a Nas or whatever are getting 0 minutes and we're losing games, then they're going to be even more mad that they're not playing. Whereas if you win, you can kind of be like, well, at least my team's doing well and I'm happy for my team or whatever. So that's winning. If we can have some success here at the last few games and in the playoffs, I think that would go a long way to Norm's happiness level here.
Yep, I agree with that. So caught up on donations. Thank you to everybody who donated. Let's talk a little bit about Dame. So I don't know. They did not trap as hard on Dame as I expected, and there was times where it was like they're not really trapping him at all. It's kind of the takeaway I got from how they were defending him off the pick and roll. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. We ran a lot of horn sets and kind of ran him off screens well. I don't know. What was your take on just kind of the way they guarded him in the pick and roll? Because for me, it was kind of hard to decipher, but it definitely wasn't the hard trapping defense that I kind of expected going into this game.
Yeah, I had there's a really good Twitter follow who's, unfortunately, he's a Laker fan, but it's I think it's like Crangis basketball or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of breaks down some of the plays and what's effective against certain teams. And he had a lot of stuff on Portland against the Lakers because of the playoff series last year. And so he commented several times during the game on both ends of the court about how the Lakers were doing none of the things that were successful in the playoffs and doing the complete opposite of that. And that includes like not hard trapping Dame much. They didn't like their attack on offense either. So yeah, it's I don't know if it's just a case of they're just trying to do their best with a pretty poor lineup, and you got a lot of guys who, I mean, like KCP is a decent role player, but he's not like gonna break down a game and score a bunch of points for you, like off the dribble or creating much. Kuzma obviously had his complete issues in this game, and Kuzma was also not good on the other end either. So when he's bad on offense, he's giving you nothing. Anthony Davis can't shut down everyone, but I felt like they missed a few opportunities when we were screening with his guy to trap. And then he switched on Dame a few times, and Dame hit some threes on him. So that's always deflating for a defense. But yeah, I felt like outside of a handful of times, they didn't really do a lot to slow Dame down in this one. But I don't know, maybe they're trying not to show that right now. You see teams play completely different during the regular season than they do.
I just don't understand that, because you're playing for the 6th or 7th seed, and you want to avoid a play-in if you're the Lakers. Why wouldn't this is probably their biggest game of the season, and I don't know why they wouldn't pull out all the stops. It's not like they're going to end up matched up against the Blazers in the first round or anything, and it's not like the Blazers don't know what type of defense is coming when they get into the playoffs. So I just don't understand them holding back on that.
Well, one thing is, I mean, they're depleted right now with their injuries and stuff. But on top of that, they played a really tough game last night. They got blown out. So they're coming off a back-to-back, having to travel in a game. They don't have LeBron or Schroeder, and they know they're kind of screwed anyway. So maybe it was just a case of because they did try to trap towards the end. So maybe when kind of made it close towards the end. Maybe they just then ramped up the pressure a little bit, but Dame was doing a pretty good job of avoiding the traps too. So maybe it was a little bit of both. And then having Nurkic playing well is another factor where you can't necessarily double team as hard, because then he just passes to Nurk there, and Nurk can either attack the basket or was passing well enough to get guys open shots. So it might just be as simple of we took them out of it, or being able to do it.
Yeah. Yep. I also thought Dame split the pick and roll with a pass to Nurkic on a number of times. Split kind of the trap that seemed to be coming his way. Norman Powell got 2 open threes because of that, and that's how you beat the trap. And I felt like from that point on, they were a little bit more reluctant to kind of to play up on the screen like that. And that's the thing. We run ball screens near half court and then put CJ across the court at half court, and he's not a threat, so his guy will go down onto the roller and guard Nurkic and kind of take away that pass. And even if Nurkic gets that pass, he's not as much of a threat from 25 feet as he is from 10 feet. So that has been my biggest problem with how we set things up against a trapping pick-and-roll defense. Tonight, we did run a few screens up high that they probably didn't trap as well as they could have, but a lot of our ball screens, we were just able to get closer to the hoop, which means that, if CJ, instead of being at half court, is spotted up on the 3-point line, so his guy can't completely leave him, or it's an open 3 for CJ. That leaves Nurkic more open, and he's 15 feet closer to the rim, so you hit Nurkic on that, he's an immediate threat with the ball to dunk, essentially. So you have to rotate over. That leaves shooters open in the corners. It's crazy how much easier it is to beat a trap when you just get the ball screens 25 feet away from the hoop instead of 40. That's why it's just mind-boggling when we are dealing with traps and we just set screens 40 feet away from the rim time and time again.
Yep, I completely agree. The closer to the basket, the better. The more well-positioned the other 4 players are, the better. Maybe we're learning a little bit. Like I said, we did still do it without Nurk. We're going back to the old style. But, and I don't know, you probably watched ESPN broadcast, I take it?
Yeah. I watched the Blazers broadcast for the first quarter or so, then I switched to ESPN.
So they mentioned, and this is something that I've wanted to have happen a lot too. When Dame's playing well, he doesn't need a pick all the time. So if they're doubling off the screens, just don't set a pick. Just let him break down the defense and pass or get to the rim and score. I think it was 7 of 9 at one point. I don't know if that's what he finished with on 2-point shots. So just let him get to the rim and create or break down and go by a guy on his own, or, take a step back 3 on him or whatever. You don't have to always bring that trap to him. And that there were a couple times today where you could tell they wanted to double team him, but we weren't setting a pick. And then it's someone's kind of fading, they're going to come. And then all of a sudden they come and Dame sees it coming a mile away, like our crappy picks are, our traps are usually. And Dame easily got out of those before they became an issue. And just stuff like that. It doesn't seem very hard, but that's why we get so frustrated when we run high pick and rolls into the traps near half court and then throw it to the other half court side and then get no advantage off of those. And if this team can find a way to use Dame getting trapped to their advantage, they would be a near impossible team to stop. Even with a team like the Clippers in the playoffs. But I don't have any confidence of us doing that consistently enough the first time it doesn't work,
Yeah. It's just nice to see Dame hitting shots. He's 5 for 9 from 3 in this game. He finished 7 for 9 inside the arc and got to the line 9 times and made all 9 of his free throws. So that's the thing, is he was struggling to get to the rim and finish consistently during that month where he was struggling, and he also wasn't really getting to the line. this game, that wasn't the case whatsoever. So maybe it's something where he's a little bit more healthy and it's making it a little bit easier to get to the rim. Because I don't know, he looked pretty quick tonight, man. Like he looked pretty fresh, he had that burst. And I talked about this on another postgame show. Like if he's banged up, he's still gonna be extremely quick. But when he's like fresh and fully healthy, he just has that extra little bit of burst. And I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing. Maybe it's you know, I don't know, maybe it's just me making something up. I'm not sure if anybody else knows it, but it seemed like he was getting the ball to the backboard a split second before it would have gotten blocked. Whereas if he's a little bit more banged up, you know, maybe that shot's getting blocked. I think that was a big difference because he was getting blocked a lot during that stretch, during that month where he was struggling. In the past couple games, he looks healthier, he looks a little bit fresher, he looks a little bit quicker, and I think that makes all the difference in the world when it comes to him as a slasher. And then when he's, you know, harder to stop as a slasher, then he'll start to pick up more fouls, and it'll just open up the rest of his game.
And that's why I agree with you that having that week rest would be huge, because not only would he be fresher for the playoffs, which it's usually the opposite, where by this time of the season we're like, oh man, is Dame even going to survive this last week of the season? And then how is he going to do in the playoffs, considering that he can barely make it up and down the court in a regular season game right now? So I don't know what happened. If sitting out those 3 games helped him, he didn't look great the first few games after coming back from that. Or maybe he's just, you know, locked in right now, or the tendinopathy isn't bothering him like it was a few weeks ago, or whatever the case is. But yeah, him being fresher for the playoffs is a must, and that's why I'm always puzzled when we once again bring him back in the second quarter with I think there was like 7:40 left or something in the second quarter, so we only got like a little over 4 minutes of rest. And then he came back with 8 minutes left or something in the fourth tonight. So I think he ended up playing, 39 minutes tonight?
39 minutes.
Yeah, so in these last few games, especially the next 2, I would like to see him maybe sit, you know, half of the second quarter, just so it's, even if he has to come in early in the fourth quarter, he's not playing that high in the 30s of minutes, because the worst case scenario would be to have him get worn down in this next week trying to fight for that 6th seed, and then we either don't get it even though we killed him, and then he's dead for the play-in game, and then we have to, if we win the play-in game, he's not healthy and he's worn down for the playoff series. And then if we do happen to get the 6th seed, like hopefully that little bit of rest helps him, but I would just try to limit him as much as possible to no more than 36 minutes a game.
Yep. And for anybody interested in what playoffstatus.com says our percentages are, I've been referencing this a lot. The Blazers, after their win tonight, and this is just based on team record and then strength of opponents they have left, so it's not factoring in who teams might have injured, and then, you know, how well a team is playing basically during a certain run. So it's not factoring in, you know, a couple of things that obviously matter, so take it with a grain of salt. But playoffstatus.com says we have a 17% chance of being 5th, 62% chance of being 6th now, which adds up to a 79% chance of not being in a play-in situation. 21% chance that we are in a play-in situation, 20% chance of 7th, 1% chance of 8th. So the Lakers, on the other hand, have only a 23% chance of not being in a play-in. They have a 77% chance of being in a play-in spot. I think it would have been the other way around had we lost this game. So that's how important this game was. Looks like most likely going to be the 6th seed. In terms of the 3-4 battle, they're giving the Clippers a 65% chance of being 3rd, and the Nuggets only a 27% chance. The Suns have an 8% chance. So in terms of our most likely first round opponent at this point, we have a 46% chance of facing the Los Angeles Clippers and a 30% chance of facing the Nuggets. So playoffstatus.com is the website that I'm referencing this type of stuff from if you want to keep tabs with that.
Brady, otherwise known as Rip City 1977, is going at it with Demers on Twitter.
Oh, is that Brady? I didn't realize that Rip City 1977 was Brady.
Yep.
What's up, Brady? I didn't, dude. Wow.
We talked about it, but I don't think he's been in here much lately. So
yeah,
or he's been watching the streams later or something. But
still didn't know, man, because I just know him as Brady. I don't know. Because here's the thing: Brady said we had a embarrassing defensive game tonight. I don't agree with that. I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily agree, but the biggest takeaway from that, Brady, is the tweet said. What did the tweet say? Eric, this tweet, Michael Stauffer tweeted out to Travis Demers saying, "What is Chad going to talk about now in the fifth quarter? He can't demand Stoss's job tonight. What have we missed, man?"
I don't know. We beat the Lakers without LeBron and Schroeder. That means Stotts is saved. Hooray!
Yeah.
We barely won too.
Yeah. It's just funny. It's just funny because he's been one of the biggest Stotts supporters that have kind of gone at us before. So, that's interesting. Shout out BR Swerve $4 dono says odds on Stotts getting re-signed. I don't want this to turn into a stream where we're criticizing Stotts. All right, we've had plenty of streams like that, and our opinions haven't necessarily changed at all. But in terms of him getting re-signed, I'm just going to reference Jason Quick and say it's 2 to 5% chance. There's a 2 to 5% chance he gets re-signed or just simply not fired because he has one more year left on his deal. Jason Quick said there's a 95 to 98% chance he gets fired after this season. I still think that's likely. Obviously, if they pull off some miracle playoff run, then things change. But yeah, they're on a nice run, 6 out of 7 games. But I mean, they've had nice runs in the past, and then gotten swept by the Pelicans in the first round, and was non-competitive against Golden State another year. I mean, I don't know. A good regular season stretch is like, our opinions are not that wishy-washy, so to say. It's based on years of watching this team in terms of us not really liking the coaching.
Yeah. And so I heard I forgot who it was talking, but it was someone was referencing the Matt Moore article recently about it was about how a defensive rating doesn't matter as much in the playoffs as much as how well you're suited to defend certain teams and how well you adjust as they make adjustments throughout the series defensively. And so because of that, he mentioned that a team like the Blazers were almost always going to struggle in the playoffs against a lot of teams because they don't usually make adjustments. They have one defensive style for the most part, and that can work against some teams. But most teams will adjust if it's working against them, and then we don't have a way to counteract that by changing our defense in the middle of a series and attacking them a different way that's effective enough that we've done enough to be effective in those situations. So that's still my concern with this team is like, this defense works tonight against the Lakers without a dynamic playmaker, but once we get into the playoffs, if we play the Clippers and they have Kawhi and Paul George, like, how is this defense going to stop them in the pick and roll? We saw Paul George by himself basically beat us. I know we didn't have Dame and Nurk for that game either, but like, we couldn't stop him in the pick and roll. at the end of that game. So uh, it's still my concern that this coach is not the right coach to win playoff series by getting game plans. And you can throw out regular seasons all you want. What our offense is doing, what our defense has done against the last 7 games, whatever stats you want to bring out. The fact of the matter is, I believe coaching becomes a lot more important in the playoffs. Coaches can maybe, you need talent still. They can't win you a series just on coaching, but they can definitely swing a game or a quarter or something like that and change the momentum in a series by coming out with a very smart game plan or adjusting something with his team. And I don't have any belief that we will win that way. If we win, it has to be because Dame or CJ got on fire or someone did something incredible and had some miraculous performance, and that's the only way we can win. And I just don't think that's sustainable in the playoffs. It might be in the regular season because a team like the Lakers, like Tori mentioned, didn't really give us a ton of defensive attention the way they did last year. So yes, that can work in the regular season, and then everyone would be like, see, we beat the Lakers in the regular season, why can't we beat them in the playoffs? And then they double team us and we don't do any of the things we need to do to adjust to it. And then Stotts blames Nurk for not adjusting to playoff basketball and stuff like that. So I'm still concerned that this coach does not have what it takes to game plan a series.
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs are the playoffs are a game, but how do I explain it? The playoffs are about adjustments and about game plans, much more so than the regular season. So, yeah, I mean, I don't. We can win the final 5 games by 1,000,000 points. Okay, it's not going to change my opinion. The thing is, the only thing that would change my opinion is him doing what I've wanted him to do in the playoffs before, and if anything, that just validates my opinion right now. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't prove us wrong if he changes how we say he needs to change. If anything, it proves us right if he changes how we need to change. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he comes out and just has his best coaching playoff run of his career, and we're singing his praises at the end of it. I mean, I'm definitely down for that. I mean, right now it's just, I'm not basing anything off the regular season in terms of the coaching. I'm going to base it off what we do in the playoffs, how prepared we look, what schemes we run, what adjustments we make, that sort of thing. So, like, I'm not really thinking about the coaching after a win like this. Sure, there's things in this game that I thought should have done better, but just not a major area of focus for me.
Yep, and I mean, it's quite obvious Dame carries this team. We can only go as far as him playing well, right? So, I mean, yeah, other players can step up, and of course, in a one-game situation, we can do damage, or even in a series where Dame struggles some of the games. I think some of the Denver series, it's overlooked, like a Game 6 performance by Dame where I think he had like 32 or 36 points or something. He had 50 in Game 5 against the OKC Thunder, the series before that. So yeah, it's a case where, like, we still have talented players, but Dame makes this team go, and it's not a coincidence that when he was struggling, the team lost. When he's playing well, now the team's winning again. So, like, I don't know if you necessarily can say that's coaching, but, like, the same people will say, well, what's Stott supposed to do if Dame's struggling? So right now I feel like Dame's playing well. It's going to look like he's a good coach because we have Dame and Nurk playing really well.
Yeah, I just don't even want to have a coaching conversation right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'll read off any and all donations. But yeah, I just definitely, it's not a favorable opinion, and the last thing I want is somebody tuning in right when we start talking about, when we haven't talked about all stream, and being like, we just beat the Lakers and won the tiebreaker with them, and you guys are saying you're not a fan of the coaching? Wow, you guys just absolutely hate him no matter what. So negative, yada yada. That's what we don't want. So, so the one person who did tune in just now and is thinking that, haven't talked about the coaching all stream long, and probably won't. Shout out Kyle Wilson for the $5 dono. It says, simply being good isn't good enough anymore, and too many PDX fans don't realize that. A lot of them only care if players/staff are, quote, nice guys. And I get that vibe. A bit. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Kyle. I want to contend, so I'm holding this team to a higher standard than other people. I also think the roster is better than other people think. So you combine those two things, and that's the difference of opinion, and that's kind of, why some people don't blame the coach. They don't think the roster is good enough, and they're not holding the team to the level of contention. So therefore, Stotts is completely fine. I could see how they would think that. I'm holding the team to a contention level standard because that should be the goal at this point. You have potentially the best player in franchise history, and if you have the best player in franchise history and you've been around 50 years as a franchise, the goal should be to contend. So that's my goal for them. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. Just generally, I don't know. A game like this, I'm happy about this game. I'm happy about this win. I want to try and keep the vibe positive, so to say.
Yep. I'm good with that.
Yep.
Thanks for the dono, Kyle.
Yeah, I appreciate the dono, Kyle. So what else from this game do you want to talk about? What else have we missed on? Maybe an individual player or just kind of a theme from this one?
Shervin just said to check out Norman Powell's Instagram. I'm seeing if I can see it. So Norman Powell, after the game, put on the gram, he put out first home game on the home side with fans back was amazing with 2 fire emojis. Love the energy, and we were only at 10%, and we got the W. Let's keep it rolling, Rip City. # Rose Quarter. Nice.
I mean, I don't know what. I don't understand
good
what.
To see him enjoying. Portland, and
but I mean,
saw him have a deal with the with Powell's Books. That's perfect. Did you see that?
I heard about it.
Yeah, so that's cool. And he's got. You guys should show him some love if you have a chance. He's got some cool shirts that say "Respect the Grind," and he's got like one with like roses now for the Rose City. So yeah. I think we definitely need to show him as much love as possible. I want that guy back so badly.
Yeah.
And I think that would make our offseason if we're able to keep him.
I agree with that. But let me just say this. I feel like people are reacting too drastically to his situation, right? It's just like, oh, we're losing, and body language isn't good. Oh my goodness, he's gonna leave. We're gonna lose him for nothing. Oh no, we're gonna lose Norman Powell. And then an article comes out saying like, oh, we did all this stuff for him once we traded for him, setting him up with a crib, yada yada. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, thank goodness we're doing all that. And then I don't know, but then Jason Quick says there's only a 40% chance he comes back, and everybody's freaking out again. And then like, oh, an Instagram post. And then it's like, oh my goodness, like he posted all this. That's real cool. I just feel like positive and negative people are reading a little too much into the situation. Because I understand it 100%. I just feel like, in his Instagram post like that, you can't read too much into that. Of course, and I'm not saying people are like reading. I don't know. I'm not saying people are reading too much into that necessarily. I just feel like his whole situation, because of how good of a player he is and the chance that he might walk for nothing, and then we traded Gary Trent Jr. for a rental and all that whole situation is obviously a very impactful situation for this franchise going forward. So I feel like some fans are nervous, and it's just kind of leading to reading too much into it one way or the other. We're not gonna know how badly Norman Powell wants to be here until free agency hits. And either he's re-signing with us, and maybe he wants to be here, but the Knicks offer him $30 million a year or something crazy, and we don't want to give him that, and then he walks. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna know what like how he feels about things, no matter what he posts on Instagram or what's said by Jason Quick or another reporter. We're not gonna know until free agency comes.
And Sam Stone, we've already touched upon this before, but he asks, "What are you willing to pay for him?" I am willing to pay whatever it takes. I think having him retained is more important than the whatever that creates by losing him, not being able to fill that talent back on the roster. So I would overpay to keep him. It's not my money, but I would definitely, I think even if you have to pay a little over $20 million a season, I see NJAD3 says I see Norman getting $39 million for 3 years. No chance. He's going to sign for $13 million. Yeah, so it's probably going to be closer to 20. And if you have to go 23, maybe even to 25 million to keep him, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, it's an overpay, but having him back on the roster and still having a tradable contract down the road versus losing him and not being able to replace that money, I think is worth a slight overpay.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in reality and in our mock off season. That's going to be an interesting one for our mock off season. Whoever's running the Blazers, what are they going to offer him off the bat, and is some team going to offer him more? That's the questions I have in real life, and our mock off season is going to be realistic. So yeah, that's our off season content we have planned after the Blazers lose in the playoffs or win the championship. Or if they win the championship, we won't do a mock off season because we won't have time. The draft will be right after then. But or we could do it during the NBA Finals. I don't know. Either way, we plan on having a mock off-season for some off-season content to keep you entertained leading up to the off-season. But before then, the Blazers still got basketball left to play and a playoff run to try and make.
Well, according to JB Jones, it'll be the off-season soon for us. So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is what happens every time it's a Lakers game. The numbers are just popping, but then you just got these trolls in the comment section, man. That's how it is every game. Bro, it's like that with no other team other than the Lakers, man. Every other team, you'll have fans come in here and, like, say we beat the Suns. You'll have, like, a Suns fan come in here and be respectful. You know, Sure, you'll get occasional trolls, but for most part, it's kind of like 50-50. After Lakers games, dude, there is just like 20 people with no profile picture that come in here and are just like, saying just absolute nonsense, you know, and then you got the casual, damn, need to leave to get a ring, you know. It's just, that's the Lakers fan base for you guys. It's the bottom. Like, there's some good Laker fans, all right? I feel bad for the good Laker fans because they have more trolls than any other fan base, and their trolls are the trolliest trolls of all the trolls. They're annoying. Feel free to ban any Laker trolls if you want mods. If you've got an itchy finger and want to just permaban a Lakers troll, go ahead. You got free reign on them. You can tee off. I don't care. Enjoy it if you want to, mods.
What's funny is, like, imagine you're an LA sports fan. You had the Lakers win last year. You had the Dodgers win the World Series if you're a Dodgers fan too. Which they're probably all front runners, so they're definitely Dodger fans as well. You know, you had your Warriors win a few years before that. So, like, these guys they just picked, you know, whatever team won the championship and then talk crap to teams like Portland that, yes, we understand. It's unlikely the Blazers are going to win a ring anytime soon. I mean, that's why we're sports fans, though, because there's always hope, and you know, if we did, it would be more of an accomplishment than any ring the Lakers have ever won in their franchise history. So that's just how it is. And one ring for Dame in Portland is way better than any ring the Lakers have ever won.
Facts. Anyway, mods, I gave you free reign and he's still here. What's going on? Reese, Zach, and Trevin are all in here, and I gave them free reign, and the JB Jones guy's still in here. I don't get it. But anyway, let's move back to the game, or we can go around the NBA or whatever you guys want. I don't know.
Freaking Dallas beat the Nets last night, and
yeah, the Nets really let us down there. The Dallas is gonna get the 5th seed. I'm just gonna call it now. Let's look at their remaining schedule. Let's do that for the 3 teams, kind of 5th, 6th, 7th.
Well, they beat the Cavs tonight. I think they play them again 2 days from now.
They beat the Cavs 110-90. Their final 5 games, they got the Cavs again. They got Memphis at Memphis. I guess that's a little harder game than I'm giving it credit. New Orleans without Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. Cool. That's a bottom feeder. Toronto. Toronto's kind of like Memphis at this point, in my opinion, average-ish. And then they got Minnesota. So they got 2 absolute garbage teams and 2 average teams. No, they got 3 garbage teams. Cleveland, New Orleans, Minnesota. And then 2 average teams in Memphis, Toronto. So,
man, Memphis losing to Orlando and Detroit in the last week is not a good look.
Yeah, but if they beat, they'll make up for it if they beat the Mavericks. But right now they've fallen to 9th. So that's the remaining schedule for the Mavericks. For the Blazers, you got the Spurs, you got the Rockets, you got the Jazz, the Suns, and the Nuggets. Maybe the Jazz and Suns are locked in by the time we face them. That's kind of the hope. I don't know. That's 3 teams that could be locked into playoff positioning. I think the Suns are only a get back of the Jazz, though. So it would take the Jazz winning a couple games and the Suns losing a couple games. The thing is, we want the Suns to win because they face the Lakers next, correct?
The Suns face the Lakers, yeah.
Yeah. So the Lakers' schedule, for anybody interested, is about as hard as the Blazers is. They got the Suns, the Knicks, Houston, Indiana, and New Orleans. It's a little bit easier than the Blazers is, but, I mean, they're going to have to win. I think the Blazers will at least win 2 of their final 5, which means the Lakers would have to win at least 4 of their final 5. That's going to be tough. I'm hoping the Blazers could potentially clinch the 6th seed or higher after the next 2 games, because the Lakers have Phoenix and New York. Okay, both good teams, believe it or not. It's so weird to say Phoenix and New York are good teams. What in the world, man? And then they have Houston, who's just absolute garbage. Just strange. Imagine saying that this time a year ago. But the Lakers face 2 good teams, and we face the Spurs and Rockets. I could easily see us going 2-0 against the Spurs and Rockets. I could easily see the Lakers going 0-2 against the Suns and the Knicks. If that's the case, we'd be 3 games ahead with 3 games left, and we have the tiebreaker. So that would clinch us the 6th seed ahead of them. So that could be the situation. Obviously not likely, but that would be nice. That would be nice.
Yep.
Why is he still here, Mods? I'm disappointed.
Wait, no. Leave him be. He's impressing me with his math skills. That how many rings do the Lakers have? Like 16 or 17? That Portland can't catch them in amount of rings in the next couple of years. That's from 1 to 17. That's pretty impressive math by him. Yeah. My 4-year-old who hasn't even started preschool could have told me that. Thanks, man.
I just want to put my head on the desk right now. Are you guys entertained? Are you guys entertained by the Lakers troll? I see a lot of LMAOs, which I think means they're entertained. And, I mean, I'm all here for the entertainment. You guys know I try and give you good basketball analysis, but also give you guys some entertainment with it, and make my content entertaining. So if somebody's entertaining you in chat, kind of like it's like a performance act or something. If you guys are enjoying the performance, then, yeah, he can stick around, I guess.
Everyone's uniting as one against a common enemy.
I like it. Builds a sense of, we have a pretty strong community here, and it's nice to see it come out. it's nice how one person can bring that out. It's fun to watch. I guess I'm pretty entertained as well. So, yeah. Mods, your free reign is restricted. Is that what this stream is going to be, the final few minutes?
I guess.
Hey, the Blazers will never have a ring, Eric. According to him. Shout out Dro, $2 dono. Says, Lakers fans are betas. Rip City.
What's up, Dro?
MFs. Shout out to Dro, man. I am the last person to throw out alpha and beta and talk like that, but I'll take your word for it, man. We got the Suns coming up. Yeah, we'll have to collaborate with the Valley Pod guys. That game's on Tuesday, or that game's on. No, I'm looking at the Lakers schedule. Hold up. You guys gotta take care of the Lakers first for us, all right? Because that's your next game. You gotta take care of them. But then Thursday, so we'll have a Blazers Uprise live. Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. I completely forgot we play the Suns again.
Hey JB, you know what's funny? He says get past the first round, then we'll talk. Blazers have been in the playoffs the last 7 years before this one, and they've actually made it past the first round 4 out of those 7 times. So nice
Eric,
try.
Eric, he doesn't speak facts. Okay, you're speaking a language he can't understand.
Yeah,
There's no point. There's no point. Shout out JM, $2 donor says, great show as always, fellas. No, great show as always. Much love, fellas. I'm
just
out
ruin his
mixing up.
his comment.
Yeah, my bad, JM. Appreciate the $2 donation. Sorry I couldn't come through with the reading of it, but I appreciate the dono. Destrum, if you ask for me to make you a mod one more time, I'm just gonna ban you. Okay? You know I'm not gonna make you a mod, so you asking is pointless, man. Come on, bro. It's funny how dude, whenever I start talking about mods, I have 5 people who I've never seen in chat before say can you make me a mod? Make me a mod. Make me a mod. It's why would I just take some random person in chat and make them a mod? The 3 people I have modded right now, Trevin has been here from the start. Okay, Reese and Zach I talk to consistently. So on mics, all that type of stuff. I game with them. I know them. I can trust them. I'm not going to take some random person from chat who I have no idea who you are, potentially a Lakers fan, and then make you mod. I don't understand why people ask that. Could you imagine the chaos if I just made everybody mod, Eric?
Yeah.
5 minutes.
At least I can't, because I can't ban other mods. Not even I have that permission, so at least no one will get banned other than if you do it. But
yep.
Or new people into the stream, I guess, will get banned right away.
5-minute bans for anybody saying to mod Destro, since I just talked about it. Only 5-minute bans. You know what? We've celebrated with 5-minute bans in the past. This throws it back to last year when we'd have a good stream, a good fun stream. What better way to celebrate it than tossing out 5-minute bans? That's how it goes, So yeah, feel honored if you get a 5-minute ban. Perma bans are for the bad ones. 5-minute bans are for the good ones. Anyway, this post-game show has gone off the rails. In a good way.
Yeah, Sherman's right. There was a time where I wasn't a mod either.
Yeah. Yep. 5-minute mod. Yeah, Michael. I'm not I won't even give people mods for 30 seconds because I could instantly just start hiding people. I don't know. We will have a 4th mod next year. And I already know who it's going to be, so don't even ask. Eric might know who it is too. I should probably tell you who it is.
I know who it is.
We'll keep it a secret. You know who it is.
I think it's someone who made picks the other day.
No.
Oh, okay.
It could potentially, because here's the thing. Trevin might not have the time to be able to be a mod next year. So I want 4. As we continue to grow, it kind of makes sense to have 4. It makes it less necessary for them to be at every stream. And obviously, they don't have to. I don't require anything of them at all. You know what I mean? But yeah, we will want 4. So I know 1 who is going to be it, and then we might, I don't know, have to replace Trevin unless Trevin plans on doing it next year. I know he's going to be busier with life on his pathway to success. So might have to have an election. Shout out to Afro Thunder 9101 $5 donut. Says Blazers Uprise Twitch channel. People have told me to do Twitch in the past, like simulcast it or whatever. I don't know. I just haven't messed with it. We got a pretty good community here on YouTube, but maybe it'd help us grow a little bit. I don't know. It'd just be stressful managing 2 streams. Probably wouldn't even look at that one. So I don't know. We'd have 2 chats, and it would be interesting. I don't know. Probably don't want to have 2 chats. That's kind of the biggest thing. JM $5 donor says, I know I've brought this up before, but would still love to have this show as a podcast, just food for thought. I was uploading it to Spotify. The process isn't exactly the quickest, so I still have needed to kind of figure out a way to streamline that and make it easier. Next season.
Oh, you haven't been doing that?
Nope. Nope. Not many people want it. Not many people was listening to it when I was doing it. If there's enough demand, I will do it. But obviously, like, JM didn't know I was doing it, so I think maybe I needed to announce it more. I don't know. But yeah, next season for sure, we will be uploading consistently. Just gotta figure out a way to consistently do it. And since we're in the middle of the season, it's
Coach Evans says to DM him about it.
Spotify is garbage. Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. It's just normally when I like try and think of different things to do like that, I like to do that in the off season, especially in a season like this where we're just streaming 4 times a week. No, we're streaming 6 times a week. And we're near the end of the season. I don't know. We'll figure it out though.
For the record, guys, I appreciate your love for my mom. Hi, Mom, if you're still watching. But she probably doesn't even know what being a mod means, let alone what to do as a mod.
Are people saying to mod your mom?
Just Gordon and Reese keep spamming it over and over and over again. So yeah, just okay, stop. I get it. Thanks.
Yep. When was the last time I posted a video? A while ago. As I said, we're streaming pretty regularly right now. So going into the playoffs, I plan on doing a playoff breakdown for our opponent. Other than that, might do another mailbag. But you guys got the streams, and the streams have been top notch, I think. So
become VTubers.
VTubers. I want to see the Eric Brandt VTuber, man. What would the Eric Brandt VTuber look like, Eric?
I don't even know what that means. So.
It's like you like put on a suit, okay, and then it like has like an animated character that like has like facial expressions and whatnot, and it's like a pretty realistic looking animated character. But obviously you can make it look a little different.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what the Eric Brandt VTuber would look like.
Yeah.
A Blue's Clues themed mailbag. What does that mean, anime? I like the idea. Don't know what it means though.
Going on like a scavenger hunt for clues or something.
I love how you just got like the community just saying random stuff, and then you got the Lakers fans still just chomping at the bit. Blazers ain't won a ring since 1980. Oh my god!
It's actually 1977.
Get it right.
You
Get
can't
it
even
right.
get that
Casual.
right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Need Eric in a suit and tie again for mock-off season. We should do a suit and tie stream.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know. What would we do? What would the suit and tie stream be though? The mock-off season draft.
We could do it.
Because I got a suit and tie.
Win a game for the playoffs or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Need Tori in a robe and Eric in a suit for mock-offs. That's how. Hey, for the mock-off season draft, I'll wear a robe. You can wear a suit. I'll be comfortable. You'll be in a suit. But people have wanted me to wear a robe on the stream. Man, the community's a little weird. But I love it. Anything else you want to talk about from this game?
No, I think we covered most of it.
Gabe says we'll do a suit and tie episode with you when we play you next. Man, I don't know. Losers have to wear a suit and tie. Whichever, like if the Blazers beat the Suns, you guys go, I don't want to do that. You guys are probably going to beat us. I don't know.
I don't want to be blinded by Gabe's head if he can't wear a hat.
Oh my god, bro. That was
just kidding, Gabe.
That was so unnecessary. Why you gotta do Gabe?
Oh like no, I love Gabe.
Gabe has a beautiful bald head.
I know.
Beautiful bald head.
It was a few weeks ago he took his hat off and it was like, whoa.
His bald head is much better than Alex Caruso's, okay? God, I don't like Alex Caruso, man. Why is he flexing? Why was he flexing in this game?
I don't know.
Man, I had fun tweeting about that. Dame said, flex your way to this L. Right after that, he had a 3 right after he did it. It's like, don't flex on Dame. Dame's gonna make you pay.
Yeah, I only made fun of you, Gabe, because I think you're a cool guy and I think you can handle it. So sorry.
Gabe, I want you and
if
Eric.
I make fun of you, it means I like you.
I want you and Eric to argue about hair and the lack thereof the next time you guys collaborate. Because yeah, what's the joke, Eric? You could explain this one.
What?
The hairline thing.
Oh, well, I was going to say that you thought I was bald for the longest time, and then I had to grow out my hair just to prove.
Yeah. I mean, you've proven me wrong. I'll give you that. I think you kind of like growing it out now, don't you?
No, I hate having to comb it and stuff. But then I look at pictures when I shave it and it doesn't look great. So oh man, I'm kind of stuck in between.
Yeah, I feel it. I need a haircut, man. I've been thinking about it. Destrum, there's a 5-minute ban. Destrum, you're very reliable. Yeah.
Eric Olsen, I don't need implants. Look, I got plenty of hair.
Gabe, was that like a personal choice, or was that like a unfortunate circumstance? What was it, Gabe? Because I assume it'd be easy. I go out of the house and it's like, yeah, I gotta wear a hat. I don't feel like putting gel in my hair today. Really talking about hair right now.
Yeah, I was watching one of their shows and Gabe took off his hat and I was just like, oh wow.
I didn't want to look like Alex Caruso anymore. Amen to that.
Yeah. Dude, see, yeah, I used to shave it just because I don't care about paying for my haircut. It's not really something I care about. And I have a wife and kids, so I'm not trying to really impress anyone. So I would just give myself the free haircut. I've still been doing it myself. It's a little bit more difficult trying to fade it and stuff. But yeah. It was just much easier to just take the blade and let it go, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna get the sides shaved and the top, leave it long. That's the haircut I get. I haven't gotten a haircut. It's starting to curl in the back. It's almost starting to look like I have a mullet. That's not the way to go. All right. If you're in high school and you don't know good hair yet, and you're thinking about getting a mullet, do not get a mullet. All right. Dude, I have to get a haircut tomorrow. I'm going to a wedding on Sunday. So, yeah, I got to get a haircut tomorrow. Anyway, this conversation helped remind me, so it's a productive one, believe it or not. Yeah, got to look sharp for the wedding. Because it's me that's getting married. Plot twist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm not invited. I see. That's...
Gonna stream it on the channel, and you're gonna host it and commentate it from home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're going to do the play-by-play.
Thanks for letting me in on this.
Yeah. Didn't want you to overthink it, so I figured I'd tell you now.
Evan's got a nice head of hair.
Yeah.
in his pictures.
Yeah. This is I don't even know what to say. That yeah, yes, he does. Evan, you got a great head of hair, man. Just phenomenal. Gotta love the positive vibes tonight. Gordon, yes, it is. Yes, my wedding is a chance to meet girls. You're right. Right, hell yeah. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about from the game, Eric?
No,
Alrighty.
just
Well,
happy for the win.
yeah. Happy for the Blazers to get this win. Puts them in a good position. Go ahead.
Honestly, it was fun getting back to a silly ending to the stream versus being
Reminds
serious
me
all
of
the time.
last year. Reminds me of last year.
When people would ask like what you would get at Panda Express and stuff, and we'd talk about that for a half an hour.
Yeah. Now I'm talking to a girl that is a manager at a Panda Express. So I mean, if we ever get back to that conversation, I'm more prepared for it this time. And that's
Nice.
that's as you would say, Eric. That's no cap. So. I'm hungry now. I forgot, man. You remind me that I haven't eaten today. What's wrong with me? I need to go get some food. So that means I need to wrap up this stream. The Blazers end up getting a win over the Lakers. Always nice to say that. We could be trying to tank, and I'd still want to beat the Lakers. So good win for the Blazers. They now have the inside track to 6th place in the Western Conference. 106-101 win. Dame 38 points. Has yet another good performance against the Lakers. Anything you want to talk about in chat or respond to in chat, because chat is just on one right now at this point. And John Smith is still going, Eric. He's still going.
Everyone's
all
talking
his
about Panda
comments.
Express and hair and beards, and he's just like, Blazers will never win a ring. Oh, wow, you've always said that like 1,800 times in the last hour.
He's typing for nobody too, because all his messages are getting hidden by YouTube. So, yeah. Anyway, there you go. 5-minute timeout. Yeah. Joel. No. Not Marion. Not gonna get married for a while. The marriage thing is a joke. Sadly, I'm down bad. As Beavis would say. Man, I miss Beavis. Anyway, it's time to wrap up this stream. Thank you guys for making this stream what it was. It was a great stream. Really enjoyed doing this stream tonight. Really enjoy bringing you Blazer breakdown. I can't even talk seriously right now. Eric, do you want to do the sign off?
Sure. Got a game tomorrow night against the Spurs. Not as important as this one, but still is important to get a win. Click on Zach's link if you want to take a risk and possibly get a virus on your computer. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Had a ton of viewers for this stream. It's much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who likes watching us, and also you guys absolutely killed it with the donations tonight. I know Tori really appreciates that, and he would definitely have included that in his outro. Special shout out to both Play by Play and Connor for their huge donos. And we'll check you guys out tomorrow after the game, and hopefully we're talking about another Blazers victory, and all these Laker fans will not be in here as well, so we have that advantage too.
Or they'll come back and troll us tomorrow night. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, pretty well. Forgot to plug the Twitter stuff. Only missing Mark at Tori Jones YT for me, at Hoopsjock for Eric. I think you're about to pass me in terms of followers, man. You're more Hollywood than me at this point. At Blazers Uprise YT is the channel too, by the way. Make sure to follow us for expert.
Get me to pass Tori now that he said that.
How many followers you got, Eric?
I don't know. I don't really. 1,128.
Yeah, he's on his way to passing me. Eric's gonna eclipse me and go Hollywood, and then he's gonna become a streamer for Bleacher Report or something and leave us in the dust. That's what we're on pace for at this point. Would honestly be more. You streaming for Bleacher Report would be more legitimate than the entirety of that platform at this point. So, yeah. Or is this like a can I deny the rights for them to talk to you? What would I trade you to Bleacher Report for? Do they have any good reporters over there? I wouldn't trade you for anything, Eric. I appreciate you doing these streams with me. I appreciate you guys, chat. Appreciate the channel members and everybody who donated, like Eric said. We will catch you tomorrow on the post-game stream. Until then, I hope you have a good rest of your night. Until then, we're out of here. We'll catch you next time. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.